Hey, what's up? I'm back with more comic reviews once again. And we're going to jump straight off into this. I'm going to start out with IDW's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 8. As was recommended to me by the Mount Vernon Kid, I reviewed the first 7 issues, and now we're getting caught up with issue 8. So, basically what we got going on in this is that the Turtles are still in their home lair in the sewer and are being bombarded by the Mauser robots, which were sent by Baxter Stockman, and the one-eyed cat Hob is controlling them, and they're out to get Splinter. In all honesty, this is pretty good. We got some cool fight scenes taking place in here, and meanwhile, General Krang shows up and basically lays out an ultimatum to Baxter Stockman. Either you're gonna deliver after all the bullshit that you've been giving me about why I haven't gotten my super soldier type formula for the mutant army that he needs, and either you're going to give it to me or your history. And meanwhile, while all this is going on, we got a little bit of Casey Jones and April O'Neil bonding over a study session, and she kind of goes and explains a little bit of background about why she wants the martial arts training in exchange for helping Casey Jones with the studies. This is good. This is a very nostalgic issue which takes place, and really, I'm going to kind of have to pull a cue from Blue Goblin to spoil this. I did have a tremendous laugh when April O'Neil came across the Turtles after Casey decided to take her to the lair after the exposition that she gave him about why she needed the martial arts training in the first place. And in classic form, usually with a lot of things, what does April do when she sees the Turtles for the first time? She faints. Just like that. It's a pretty solid issue all around. Continuing to be pretty good. I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going. And so far, IDW has delivered well with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so good job to Kevin Eastman. Enjoyed this tremendously. Moving along. Excuse me, to Avengers vs. X-Men number 0. This is the massive event prologue which takes place. I'm going to be honest with this. A lot of people have been raving good things about this issue. I'm going to say that it's simply alright for what it is. This is 2 stories about 2 of the main focal points of this issue, besides one being Hope Summers. Now we have the Scarlet Witch back into the mix of things. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Bendis writes the Scarlet Witch story, and Jason Aaron takes over the Hope Summers story. To sum up the Scarlet Witch story real quick, she's back, and she's going by herself, taking on MODOK as he's trying to attempt an assassination of a certain political figure. And while she's trying to handle everything herself, she has a couple of her old Avengers buddies, Spider-Woman and Miss Marvel, show up to give her a hand. And kind of Miss Marvel forcing, not really forcing, but just practically insisting that Wanda come back with her to the Avengers mansion to see everybody, since it's been so long since they've seen each other. And it really gets depressing from there on out. After she has a confrontation with her husband, the Vision. Let's say, it really left me feeling bad for Wanda in this issue. It's just saying, you know, I got 99 problems, but a Vision ain't one. The Hope Summers story is much better than the Scarlet Witch, though. It's not as depressing. Hope is practicing being a night vigilante. She sneaks off of Utopia. Actually, she brazenly just tells Scott to fuck off and just leave her alone because she wants to do her own thing. And she goes and she takes on the Serpent Society in this issue, which is pretty cool. And she pretty much just hands their asses to them on a platter, and then Cyclops shows up to try and smooth things over with the police. That's pretty much the issue in a nutshell. It does good for giving character insight into both of these characters. It's the most interesting thing I've seen done with Hope since Second Coming, but the Scarlet Witch was just depressing to me, which I hated that for her, but, you know, what you gonna do? Not really the best attention getter for a prologue issue into an event for me, but at least the Hope Summer story kept my interest in that, so I will say a good job to Jason Aaron on that. Next up, X-Men Legacy, number 264 by Mr. Christos Gage. We've had 3, now we have 4. Count them, 4 good issues of X-Men Legacy back-to-back. This series has been taken off pretty well, and I'm happy that we have a good artist and a writer on this book. I'm kind of wishing that Gage would take over Uncanny X-Men and try and bring some redemption back to that title, because as one of the main flagship X-Men titles of Marvel, Uncanny ain't been doing so hot, but this is getting really good. There again, this is pretty much Rogue's book. I don't know why they don't call it Rogue, but they have some problems. We just got over one superpowered mutant that they had to deal with, and Rogue is still getting over the trust issues that she and Wolverine have been having from the last issues, where Wolverine had trouble trusting her. And we get, who was this? We had Mimic, I think it is, and we have Weapon Omega show up in this. And Weapon Omega has a very large problem in here. Basically, he's been absorbing mutant powers from Mimic, because apparently something which happened in the Dark X-Men miniseries from a couple of years back, which I never read. Both of these guys were part of that team. And there's a bit of a problem, actually, with him needing to take in mutant energy because he's become some kind of crack addict to it. And it's largely to do with the fact that Mimic is not actually a mutant, so ergo, Weapon Omega taking in these mutant energies is causing him to start building up energy, and if it's unleashed, it could be very catastrophic. And it's not very convenient that they just happen to show up at the Jean Grey School, where a bunch of mutant students are, and things could very easily get out of hand. Rogue and Beast step in to try and bring some help to solving the situation, but as Mendel's Law state, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and what they thought that they were doing to help quickly turns into a quite larger problem. This is a solid issue. It's been good for the past couple of issues, and I'm really enjoying what Gage is doing with this title thus far, so good job on that. Now, moving along to one of my favorite X books, Uncanny X-Force, number 23 by Mr. Remender. Alright, I've said it before for the last couple of issues of the story arc. I love the writing, don't like the art. Hopefully this will be Greg Tocchini's last issue on this. Not really digging the art in this issue, but the story itself has been pretty good. The conclusion to it is sort of a mixed bag with me. This is not a great issue, it's good. We're concluding the trial of Phantom X in the Otherworld Omniverse place, which I'm not entirely too familiar with, and Psylocke is not only trying to help Jean-Philippe escape from the custody of the Otherworld police force, but also having to deal with some personal family issues with her brothers Benjamin, Captain Britain, and the other brother, Jamie Braddock. And we also have this high evolutionary type villain, which is like this goat-faced guy that has been hanging around and causing all kinds of problems. He builds himself up as this really bad power to be reckoned with in this issue. And the way that he's defeated at the end of it, kind of pulling it out of the air a little bit, but still good. The defeat of Weapon 3, who was introduced last issue to basically torture Phantom X, was also quickly dealt with, which it kind of hurt the issue to me a little bit. But there is some pretty good dialogue. There's some fun character stuff going on in here at the same time. And I really felt torn for Psylocke at the end of it, who does have to make a very painful choice concerning one of her family members in this issue because of connection that he has to the problem which they are facing. Felt really bad for her in this issue. The overall story arc for this has been simply okay. It's not great, but then considering that this comes hot off the heels of the Dark Angel saga, yeah, this kind of feels like we needed a lulling point before we probably kick things back up later on, because I know issue 24 is going to be pretty big. So, Chris, if you're watching this, I know you like going and picking up a lot of other books. Try jumping on this series with issue 24, man. Been pretty good, and I still enjoy what Remender does with it. Finally, moving on to Daredevil number 10 by Mr. Mark Waid. Excellent, excellent issue. Each one keeps getting better than the last. And I love the cover on here too. Like each of the covers that the artist has been coming up with have been really good. And the story in here is also pretty worthwhile. So we're tying up loose ends with the Mole Man and him stealing a lot of the corpses from the cemetery of where he was looking for a particular body of a person that he knew from long ago. And what his connection was to this person, or at least the Mole Man's, was it really did make me feel for the guy. But at the same time, Daredevil is still upset that, you know, when Mole Man didn't know exactly where this person was that he was looking for, he didn't know where she was buried. And the fact was that Jack Murdoch's casket also happened to be one of the ones that got pulled down by the Moloids. Pissed Daredevil off tremendously. I'm going to say, I'm not without sympathy for the Mole Man, but Matt does let him pretty much have it very hard, I might say. And in the meantime, we also get a couple other things going on in here. The matter of the Black Cat from last issue, where she was snooping around Matt's apartment and looking for the device, which he had gotten over from a lot of the crime syndicates. I'm not going to spoil what happens with that, but that question is answered, and it is a pretty good answer. But it also starts to show some cracks in this, because Mark Waid has been playing this off as kind of like a good time in the Daredevil's life, and he's got a positive outlook on things, but the implications of the Black Cat's answer to him have started to show some cracks in what could have been a better time to be starting out in Matt's life, and this really will leave repercussions, I think, for other issues to come. Been pretty solid, loved the hell out of the series so far, and Waid continues to do a good job with it. So, overall, I am pretty much satisfied with the comics that I got for this week. So, until next time, I will catch you guys later, and peace.